There are two things plaguing them in the zoo. Lies and deceit. If not for the coming of IPOB, of Radio Biafra, all of you would have lived and died in the ignorance that Ojukwu caused a war. That's what they were writing. Britain helped them to write it. Ojukwu was a rebel, a secessionist, because we had no media. That is why they're paying Facebook billions upon billions of US dollars to stop this truth from coming out. Did Ojukwu cause any war? Gowon is alive, go and ask him. Did Ojukwu cause any war? Ojukwu went and negotiated restructuring with you in Aburi. You came back, Britain told you not to agree because Britain realized that all the component units of Britain knows that if you go back to regionalism, you will have economic growth. The country will do very well. But Britain doesn't want it. That was why they even instigated the Nzogwu coup, so-called Nzogwu coup, saying they will bring Awolowo to become the head of state. They knew what was going to happen. They wanted to truncate the economic miracle of Dr. Michael Opara. What I'm telling you are fast. Go and investigate for yourself. In the East, you had the fastest growing economy in the whole world, over 40% every year. In the West, Awolowo was performing his own miracle as well. Even in the North, Ahmadu Bello and Tafawa Balewa were doing very well. You had all those massive industries in the North. You even had Alamajiris that were employed in the North, meaningfully employed, gainfully employed. They were all doing very well. Britain said, no, for us to control these people, we need to impoverish them. Let us introduce this war. There was a coup by Nzogwu. And after that, there was the massacre of, as usual, massacre of our people in the North. Ojukwu said, I have to secure my land and my people. They said, no, let's go to Aburi to discuss it. Ojukwu went to Aburi and agreed, restructuring. That's something now you're asking for. To tell you how foolish Nigerians are. They're very foolish. That same nonsense you're asking for now was discussed many years ago. Ojukwu sat down in Aburi with Gowon and decided that regionalism was the best way forward. Restructuring, going back to who you were, 1963 Constitution, 1960-1963 Constitution. Be on your own and pay tax to the central government, as they have in America, as they have even in Britain. Britain, you have Scotland that is almost independent. Wales, the same thing. Everybody is free. But Britain doesn't want the same thing they're enjoying to happen in Nigeria. Why? Ask yourself that question. Anybody telling you about one Nigeria is your enemy. I'll prove it to you now. Ojukwu negotiated devolution, regionalism. The North will be on their own, the West on their own, even Middle Belt on their, Midwest on their own, and then the East on their own. It's the same one Nigeria. On their way to the airport, before they boarded the aircraft, a call came from Lagos, from the British High Commissioner in Lagos to Gowon, telling Gowon not to agree, after having signed the agreement. That same Gowon you're looking at today, God kept me alive so that he can witness the destruction he will bring upon that very zoo called Nigeria. Gowon said no. Do you know all the journalists in Nigeria, none of them have ever gone to Gowon to ask him, why did he say no to Aburi? Aburi was restructuring. None of those agitating for restructuring right now has ever gone to Gowon or gone to Nigeria to say, but Ojukwu negotiated restructuring. What happened? They came back and they said no. Ojukwu said, okay, so you want to continue to kill my people all over the place? No. Because of that, I'll declare Biafra. Today, they have brainwashed all of you with the perverse notion and thinking that somehow Ojukwu is responsible for causing a war, when opposite is the case. If not now, that after many years of hammering on this very topic, it has now sunk into the skull of the people that Gowon was the aggressor, not Ojukwu. That's how Nigeria is, always blaming the victim. And we lost over 5 million people during that very genocidal war. They killed over 5 million Biafrans. They wanted to wipe us away from the face of this very earth. But we survived it, and we are here today. Those they gave birth to, they have come. And this time with a wrath that you cannot even begin to imagine. And Biafra must come. It must come.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you according to your time zone and I welcome you to this program. While you are joining us, share the video, invite others to join. Are you watching on YouTube? Are you watching on Facebook? Are you watching on Twitter? Retweet the video, share the video, invite others to join wherever you are watching from. We are here once again to continue the propagation of the gospel for African reparation, African liberation, and those who have offended Africa to seek restitution. Very, very important. And I greet you all, those of you who are always making this program to be the remarkable one. I greet and I salute you all. So, of course, so many things took place yesterday and today. A lot of things that happened around us yesterday and today. So, of course, we are going to be touching on some of these things that took place and some of the headlines that is coming out from the center of attention, which is Niger Republic in the ECOWAS region of sub-Saharan Africa. So it is very, very important that we continue to actually bring out all these data that is coming out from Niger, as the ECOWAS led by Nigeria president, the ECOWAS led by Nigeria president, and that president of Nigeria confessed by himself that he knows very well that majority of you did not vote for me, yet he's a president. And majority is those who carries the vote. Majority carries the vote. So when he actually made such confession, it means that he is illegitimate in the position of where he is occupying. No wonder he is trying to establish so many things, while the court or the tribunal, election tribunal, continue to, will I say they are continuing to delay, or they are still finalizing their collection of data. Now, it is very, very important for you to know the reason why Tinubu is trying all his best, pushing out even over the limit in order to invade Niger Republic. And he is seeking for the support of the legislatures. He is seeking the support of the legislatures so that he will go ahead to invade Niger Republic. And then, to your greatest surprise, or to my greatest surprise, it has been a while I heard anything concerning Nigeria in the CNN. It has been a while I heard anything concerning Nigeria, the things that is coming, the data that is coming out of Nigeria being seen in CNN or being seen even in Al Jazeera. But this time around, Nigeria is also in the front list of the center of discussion. Now you will be asking yourself why. Because they have to prepare them. They have to bring them to the limelight as they are planning to promote the agenda of the Western countries against their neighboring countries, Niger Republic. Now, in democratic dispensation, let us start from telling the world and explaining to the world what a democracy is and the benefits of the democracy. I am going to find it from Google. Let me not give you my own analysis. Let's Google to see exactly what democracy is before we proceed and before we come to analyze exactly what is playing out in Niger Republic. I hope I am coming out clear. Wherever you're watching from, share this video, invite others to join. Those on YouTube, like the video, share the video, invite others to join. Now I am going to now bring it to the dictionary. Let us actually define the almighty democracy using a dictionary, English dictionary, that any of you who knows English language will be able to actually comprehend exactly what democracy stands for and how democracy is actually seen to be working. A system of government by the whole population or all the eligible members of a state, typically through elected representatives. A system of parliamentary democracy. Okay. Now, democracy is a state governed under a system of democracy. A state governed under a system of democracy. A multi-party democracy. Okay, this is a type of democracy. Let me actually, I'm looking for the terms that is very simple. Okay, let me use this one. A democracy is a society in which the citizens are sovereign and control the government. Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear that? Very, very simple. A democracy is a society in which the citizens are sovereign and control the government. The citizen, that is what the slogan you always hear, where they say power belongs to the people and power is given by the people. That is those slogans you hear. It is what we have actually read from here. People are actually, the citizens are sovereign and controls the government. But the citizens demand what they want from the government. That is the type of control they control the government. The citizens choose whom is going to be their government. That is the type of control they control the government. The citizens decide to remove whom they do not want in the position of a governance. That is what is called a democracy. So, in an event whereby the majority of the population decided that they don't want a particular leader under democratic dispensation, they are actually, they have the right to remove such leader. They have every authority to remove such leader through a call for impeachment of such leader. That is the reason why there are House of Representatives. House of Representatives will submit the calls from their various communities, from their constituencies. Now, while the media will continue to protect the call of this individual and make it known to the public, now that is democracy, where the people choose a leader, where the people nullify an incumbent leadership, or rather call for the removal of the incumbent leadership, because it is still majority that carries the vote. That is the reason why from the we started it this way. I know the majority of you did not vote for me, but I am still in the position of power, which is anti-democracy. Anti-democracy. Now, if somebody who claims he is fighting for democracy on behalf of the, his Western counterpart, because that's exactly what they are trying to achieve. This person is anti-democratic process. This person is anti-democratic process. Yet they claim they are fighting for democracy and calling for the legislatures to give him support so that he will carry out his conquest mission against the people of Niger. Now, on the other way around, if we are to actually say this is what democracy stands for, if I am now to say this is what democracy stands for, I can put it this way. Democracy is where the citizen, power belongs to the people, power is given and taken, given and taken by the people. In that regard, there are some articles that we are going to read. There is some videos we are going to actually see, so that we will be able to understand what exactly is playing out in Niger Republic, to know if it is actually trying to promote democracy, or if those who are against what is going on in Niger Republic are really promoting democracy, just like we have actually defined democracy what it is. Because it is very, very imperative that when you remove a tick from a dog, somehow you show the dog the tick so that he will not think that you pinched it. Let me show you something, a video. Let me show you this video. Because having seen this video is a typical, or will I say that this video is a good example of democracy, or what is playing out in Niger Republic. And I am going to tell you exactly the reason why your president is fighting or doing all he can in order to start a battle against Niger Republic. We're going to actually tell you that, and we are going to tell you what he is trying to activate. He is trying to activate something, and we're going to expose it. Pay attention to this video where I am actually trying to bring in. I don't know why it is not coming through. All right. Can you see this video? Are you seeing this video? Did you see the amount of people who are doing this protest? It is not about seeing the video. Did you see the number of people who are doing this protest? That is the only thing I want you to see here. Let's forget about the voice. My computer is thoroughly hanging. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. If you have seen this video, what does this video explain to you? And you must have seen this video somewhere. And having seen this video, what does this video remind you, or what does this video tell you? This video will tell you or show you that what is playing out in Niger Republic, it is the citizens taking back their sovereignty. It is the citizens actually removing who claim that they are the ones who put him in the position of leadership. That is exactly what is playing out. Are you seeing the number of people? This small camera, this is a phone camera, so it might not be able to even capture enough of those who are there. So that is exactly what's going on. It is as a result of these people exercising their right under democratic dispensation, regardless of who want to actually define it as. If the military coup that took place in Niger Republic took place and the people are being oppressed, being maligned, being displaced, it is exactly where all these things that this ECOWAS, EU, AU, and even the US are going to actually now call for intervention, because the right of people, ordinary citizens, who are actually those who own the sovereignty of that nation, is being abused. That is a play, where you will say, if the African Union decided to intervene, that is where you called now anti-democracy, because democracy is for the people. But in the situation of what is going on in Niger Republic, you will see that the people are happy, which means they had never voted for those who were seen in the position of leadership. And that is the reason why they are in full support of the new phenomenon or the new development that has taken place in Niger Republic. And as a result of this, for you to understand that the interest of the West has never been for the people. The interest of the West has only always been for the small, small group of people who sit in the position of power. That is the reason why you go to African countries. You go to African countries, you see that their leaders are seen as omnipotent. Leaders of Africa are seen as omnipotent, while the leaders of the West are seen as a citizen who was actually employed by the people. That's exactly how it is, because they have the right to take them, they have to remove them, they have the right to place them there. But in Africa, in most African countries, except for few, you don't have a right to put anyone. You don't have a right to remove anyone. You go to the ballot box. Going to the ballot box and the time of that, it is a formality. It is a formality in the name of democracy promotion. That is the reason why they actually introduce such formalities. And now that's formality you are seeing is what these people has been using to put their stooge in the position of your leadership, so that they will know, dictate for that person exactly what they want to be coming out of the country to them. I am not going to, explain, too much with regards to what exactly is going on. Before I start bringing you some, before I will start bringing you some, piece that you need to actually look into. Let me present to you first. I believe I am going to read for you, not present for you. I will not present it, I will read it. Just one moment. One moment, let me open this piece. I want to actually read it to you so that you will understand the exact reason why you have to know that there has never been anybody who stayed in the position of leadership that in those countries that were colonized by France, that ever sat there to do the bidding of the people, or to do the things that is going to be beneficial to the people. It is all about doing the things beneficial to themselves. Those are the things they do. So I am trying to open no, this is not what I am looking for. there is a piece. I have a lot of them, so that's why I am actually trying to discover the one I need to open. Okay, let me actually go to the type of arrangement or the type of policies that the French countries, the type of policies they make in the relationship between them and their colonies. This is where I am going to go first, so that we will now find out what exactly is driving this withdrawal of the financial support on Niger Republic. And you are going to also hear exactly that the Niger Republic is the seventh highest uranium, is it uranium producing nation. These people are the seventh of the nation that is actually, the world is using their uranium. Seventh of them in the list. Now, let's see what the relationship between French and those countries that they colonized, the type of relationship they have, so that we will know whether it is the reason why people understand the game that is being played all along before they decided to start setting up a coup. If you look at those people who plot all this coup in the sub-Sahel region, you will understand that these are all French colonized countries. Let us find the reason, maybe the possible reason why they actually started going through the route of, doing a coup. Now, there is a piece that is coming from a reliable source. And this source is a source that actually keep record and keep every, secret that does not, that the internet might not want it to trend. Now let me read. The French colonial tax, a misleading heuristic for understanding Francafrique or Francafrique. I don't know whether they are mixing it with French. So, but let me try to read the one. Pardon me if I can't pronounce the French words there, correctly. So, populist politicians may sell the idea of the SFA, franc, as a colonial tax, but not only is France today is a different country, but the real power to watch in West Africa are China and Nigeria. The real power to watch in West Africa are China and Nigeria. Did you see that? China and Nigeria. The real power to watch in West Africa are China and Nigeria. Let me continue to read. Maybe we will understand it better. The story of former Guinea President Sékou Touré's referendum on whether to join the proposed Communauté Financière Africaine SFA monetary union in 1958 is an unpleasant chapter in the history of France's relationship with the former colonial territories. Following the 95% no vote, Charles de Gaulle government immediately pulled out more than 4,000 civil servants. More than 4,000 civil servants. I hope I am reading the correct one. He pulled out more than 4,000 civil servants, judges, teachers, doctors, technicians, instructing them to sabotage everything they left behind. Did you hear that? Remember, whenever this is actually the type of things that the French does, because each and every country that actually rebelled against them, they will pull out all their, everything that they have done there. If they have machineries or industries, they don't mind even setting it ablaze to make sure that there is nothing there to benefit that place anymore. So that is kind of what you see here. Now, let me, the ensuing maelstrom of burning books, demolish building, destroy agricultural implements, and assorted vindictive behavior by the departing French was summed up by French commentators as, did you see there? You will never benefit anything from French. You will never benefit anything from them. Because they want to cleave onto you to continue to actually devour your economy. But there is a particular, policy that is made that I am trying to look for in what I am reading. This policy is something that is quite ridiculous, that I don't even know how those people who were actually colonized by French countries were able to survive even up until today. Because if you see what these policies looks like, you will understand that those, that has been living under these colonial rules of France, they actually, they are very, very patient people. Very, very patient people. And I don't know what gave them that patience. I don't know what motivates their patience to the extent of this, level of exploitation. Listen, let's continue. And if you eventually wake up from your slumber to to rebel against them, they will destroy everything that you have in that country that is actually implemented by them. It is even, if it is even possible to tell you all the fundings that they have given you, that you should return it, it is actually possible for them to do it. Because they will destroy the cars. They will destroy the military equipment. They will destroy office building. They will destroy documents. They will destroy anything that you will be able to use to benefit you. But all this while, they have been having a symbiotic relationship with you, where they are eating you up, but you are not feeling, you are not feeling the physical pain, because you don't understand what exactly they are doing to you. Now let us continue. The ensuing maelstrom of burning books, demolish building, destroy agricultural implements, and the assorted vindictive behavior by the departing French was summed up by French commentator as undivorced sans pension alimentaire. A divorce without alimony. Did you hear that? A French man called it a divorce without alimony. In situation of course, so many people who does not understand what alimony is. Alimony is when you are divorcing your wife. Alimony is the money that you are going to share, the property that you are going to share to give that woman their own share, whether they own anything on it or not, as long as you guys are married and married into, have a court marriage. So when you must actually, regardless of these things, they belong to the man. If they belong to the man or belong to the woman alone, if the man decide that they have to divorce, they will share it equally. regardless of who owns it. So that is exactly the reason why he said that a divorce without alimony. I know that we have a lot of intellectuals. That is the reason why I am trying to break it. And we have some laymen here who are watching, who does not understand British language correctly. It does not mean that they are not, wise or intellectuals, but we understand it is a language that is not of theirs. So we have to bring it down to the layman's understanding. So that is exactly what we just did. You cannot divorce and without giving that person their own share of the wealth you have built over the years while you are with them, because they have helped you, if not psychologically, they have helped you, physically. If not, physically, they must have helped you in every spiritually. Otherwise, to build this wealth, so you have to share it equally. Now, that is the alimony. So French will leave those countries, taking back everything given to these countries, for you to know that the reason why they are giving you those money that I was talking about in the past, they call it financial aid. It is as a result of what they are actually exploiting from your own economy. Listen, let's continue. To 14 other newly independent French colonies, however, the message was not that of a mere divorce. It was an example illustrating the consequences of tumbling your nose at Paris. Tumbling your nose at Paris is to risk losing everything. Wow. Wow. So, the reason why they all normally do what they do, such thing that I just analyzed to you, it is so that the other people may learn, because their modus operandi is bring brutality, bring iron fist. If whoever that actually stand to challenge you, find a way to make sure that they don't, speak no more, so that you will use them as an example to others. That's exactly what it is. That is exactly the reason why the rest of the leaders will become actually the people who do the economic exploitation on themselves for these, colonies. Let's continue. Out of this inauspicious origin came the SFA franc, a twin set of franc-backed currency used by 8 Western African countries and 6 Central African countries. Countries using SFA franc are required to store This is where I want you to pay attention, for you to know the real drive of this coup d'etat. That if you understand it, you will now know that what these people are doing, it is something that is actually going to be profitable and beneficial to the people of this, region. Because that is the reason why the people are in support of what they are doing. Listen attentively. Countries using SFA franc, the money, that is the type of money, are required to store 50% of their currency reserves with the Banque de France, and the currencies are pegged to the euros. Wow. Did you hear that? Countries using that, money, SFA francs, are required to store 50% of their currency reserve with the Banque de France, and the currency are pegged to euro. Did you see? It means that half of your life is being kept by France. Half of your economy is being kept by France. Half of your life support is being kept by France. Now, there is something that is even more interesting that you will hear here. To some, this is a beneficial arrangement that ensures that such countries are shielded from the devastating impact of price inflation that sometimes happens in weak African economy that issue their own currencies. That is the reason they gave to them. Did you hear the reason they gave to them? To some, okay, it is not, this is actually exposition that this, this place where I am extracting this information is trying to do. Whoever that, wrote this piece is trying to do exposition. He said that to some, this is a beneficial arrangement that ensures that such countries are shielded from the devastating impact of price inflation that sometimes happens in the weak African countries that issue their own currency. So it does not support African countries that issues their own currencies. As long as you are their colonies, you are bound to use this CFA francs. While you are using it, they say the half of your reserve will be with France. And they claim it is to fight your inflation. It is a policy that was made, and this policy was not including the people. It was made from the minority of the sovereign nation, which is those people you put in the position of power. They sit around without involving the people under democratic dispensation, which they claim they are trying to protect today. They agree in this policy because they want to have power at all costs. That has been the problem of we, Africans. We want power at all costs. Does not matter who is going to be crying, who is going to be, be getting hurt. As long as we are in that power position, we are, and once they climb there, they become omnipotent. Listen attentively. Some of them claim that it is all about protecting themselves from price inflation or inflation. Many others, however, see it as a neo-colonial tax, a brake on economic growth, and an insult to the sovereignty of these 14 countries. This is a French man that is doing this exposition. These people, they have done so many exposition in many African countries that is actually being, sabotaged by the policies of their colonialists. They are being sabotaged by the policies made by their colonialists. So these people are actually exposing it. But let me continue to read. According to this narrative, France, a European behemoth with a 2.5 trillion economy, is actively bullying 14 poor African countries and holding their economies hostage. Did you see that? Now, if this is actually, it's not if, this is exactly what is happening. And I've talked about it several times, the colonial tax that France is collecting from its colonies. Now, if this is the case, which it is the case, that people decided, no, we have to actually liberate ourselves from this generational curse that is being perpetuated or promoted by France. And in real time, this is not even systematic. It is something that is there, that a blind man could see. And they have no choice than to continue to bring in their stooges in order to run the economy, to run the power of that sovereign nation, the so-called sovereign nation, which power they promote is owned by the people under democratic dispensation. So in this regard, it means that there will never be an economic growth in every nation that was colonized by the French, because they are holding half of your life. Whenever you mess up, it's either they take it and cripple you, and from the profit they are making from half of this reserve, they are giving you financial aid. They will give you maybe I will say the 1% or maybe 3 or 4% that is coming out of this reserve that you have given them, because it is all about you give it to them, they invest it, they reap the profit, they give you maybe 1 or 2% as a financial aid. The same of your money, which they're supposed to be giving you and thanking you. They call it financial aid. When you don't want to agree with them, they say they are actually withdrawing their support from you. Are you now understanding? And the primary reason why I am trying to actually bring in this context, bringing this to the context of what is happening, is for you to understand what African Union is trying to promote. For you to understand what Tinubu, illegitimate Tinubu, is trying to promote in the West Africa. Now, when you understand it as an African person who have seen exactly what we've been crying for over the years, over 54 years in that Nigeria, that some of these people who have, poverty has eaten them up to the extent that they can no longer recognize or actually appreciate the fact that change may still come, but they have to make a sacrifice for that change to occur. They have made peace with their, sufferings. They have made peace with their boogeymen. They are so relaxed in their comfort zone, waiting that one day God will serve them in a golden platter, as their pastor will always tell them. Wait on God. God's time is the best. Have faith, you will move mountain. In all these things, you will understand that this is what we've been going through in Nigeria, and that is the reason why we've been calling for a referendum to take place, because we are peaceful people. And being peaceful in this Africa, you can never get what you are looking for. Being peaceful. But now, if you don't want to be peaceful, you must be strategic. If you are not strategic, if you are not prepared, and you go violent, they will that is where you will understand that the country you call your own is actually dependent on the decision of other nations for them to, go their day-to-day activities, such as you say you are a Nigerian. Being a Nigerian, who makes the decisions of what's going on in Nigeria? It is Britain. Who makes the decision of who is going to be the leader? It is Britain and the US. Those are the people who are the decision makers. It is not you. ballot box and all these things are formalities. It is formalities. So because Niger Republic tried to come away from these evil policies that is actually impoverished them over the years. And that is exactly the reason why the fellow African countries who are supposed to lend them their support is trying to invade them, to destroy them, not to actually emancipate themselves from this evil economic sabotage, to emancipate themselves from this poverty that has encroached their lives and will never let go until they do something like this. You see African leaders trying to fight the freedom of their own people. Is that not an irony? African leaders in the name of AU, in the name of ECOWAS, trying to fight your, being against your freedom. Do you know why? Because these are the people who were gathered by your colonialists. Give them the position of power. Tell them to go and lead these people indefinitely. You will lead them from pillar to post, lead them into the dish, come out. It doesn't matter. Their cry will not matter. We are the United Nations. We are the ICC. We will not actually care. But whenever you see these people attacking some leaders, you see United Nations is now standing up, railing up their ugly head to tell you that a particular leader in Africa is to be sanctioned. You should see that leader as a holy, as an angel, because that leader is not doing their bidding. They will bring economic sabotage and destroy the economy of that nation using the same African countries. That is the reason why if you go to Africa, in SADC region of Africa, where you find Zimbabwe, Mugabe did not tolerate. He did not take a lot of their, dictatorship. He decided to do what he wanted, and that is exactly the reason why they crippled the economy of Zimbabwe, deindustrialized Zimbabwe, made Zimbabwe one of the poorest countries in Africa. Zimbabwe has gold. Zimbabwe has diamonds. Zimbabwe have uranium. Zimbabwe have all these resources, but they are one of the poorest countries in Africa. And no African leader decided to lend them their support. African Union could not lend them their support because they are playing lapdog for their masters. And the most important thing that we need to understand here, it is that African leaders are against the progress of Africa. That's what I am seeing. Not all of them. There are a few of them who are actually, committed to the benefit of their people. There are a few of them. But the majority of them inside that African Union, it is all about promoting the activities of their master, and while they are, bringing them to themselves economic sabotage and limitation. Because before they do it, they find a way to isolate you. They will look for a way to isolate you from every other nation around you. And the next country they are trying to find a way to isolate is South Africa. They are trying to isolate that country from every other African countries, one way or the other, promoting violence against their own black counterpart from other African countries. Or maybe, I don't know how they want to do it, but that is exactly what they are planning to do, so that they will find a way to enter them, to hit them. But they are very intelligent. They are in a brick, bricks block. They are moving swiftly. They are working with time to protect themselves. Because what they do all the time is that they first isolate you. Secondly, they will now make people to see you as an evil leader, including your friends in other nations. They see you as an evil leader. When they see you as evil leader, the next thing they're going to do, it is to destroy your economy so that nobody will want to trade with you. Even in the secret, they don't want, because you are seen as an evil leader. They tell them that you don't promote democracy, you are a dictator, you are a villain. They call you a villain. And at the end of the day, the villain you have created in that leader will end up coming back to haunt you, because they will start trooping into your borders looking for greener pasture, including their criminals. Going into people's borders looking for the greener pasture. That's how these things work. But if Africa love themselves, that if there is any excesses coming from the West against a particular nation, or coming from any of these superpower against a particular nation, they will all rise up and give that nation a support, not allow them to fall. But because of all these leaders that are actually groomed in Africa, they are actually seeing themselves to be omnipotent, belonging to a one evil society that all of them are doing the same thing. They will always, I don't know how they were initiated. Whoever that placed them in the position of power or their party is initiated, that before they select you, you must be initiated. That you will continue to do their bidding until you die or you go out of office. The day you change it, the day you change the topic, it will be the day they will remove you or turn your people against you. As emotional as Africa is, they will follow suit. This leader is anti-democratic. They will actually stir up a rebel group. They will create rebel group, sometimes terrorists, in order for them to use that leader against you. Just like you saw how they fought Goodluck Jonathan. Goodluck Jonathan, I believe, in this millennium, he is the only president that has a political will, educated, that wanted to do something productive in Nigeria. He is that wanted to do something, and you saw how Obama, President of America, made sure that he threatens him, whether direct or indirect, threatens him out of the office. Incumbent power, lose position of incumbent party, lose position of leadership in Nigeria where there is no election. After election, selection, the incumbent power will always win. For the first in history, it happened. That is exactly because Goodluck Jonathan is an educated man. If you want to come to the level of a negotiation, he is an academia. So, is it Professor Goodluck Jonathan or Dr. Goodluck Jonathan? He has a PhD. He is not just educated. He is well educated. So you cannot come and speak to one or two grammar and expect him not to understand what decision he need to take in order to, make a nation, bring a nation growth. They refused him being there. Immediately when he declared fastest growing economy in Africa, every bomb coming from here and there, Boko Haram, a bomb Abuja, they bomb this place, everywhere caught fire. Do you know why? Because there will never be And their policy is that there must never be anybody who will have a political will that will sit in the position of power, that they will allow him. They will never allow him. Some people might even want to say, no, we will find a way to manipulate it. I be guy man now. Or maybe the way Peter Obi will be saying, I be guy man now, I be Igbo. I will find a way to once you go there, you will see that they will start singing a praise. If I can't beat them, I join them. If I cannot beat them, I join them. That is their final slogan. I don't want to be the worst, though. I don't want to be seen as the worst. I cannot beat. No, there is no way you can beat them without being open to your people. And that is the reason why you have to return the power to the people, because that's when power of the people will speak and nullify everything that is working against the country. And now, coming to Nigeria, the power that belongs to the people, you saw that it has been confiscated and given to one individual in the name of commander-in-chief and a president of a country, that president will be on a convoy 24 hours a day, from flight, helicopter, to convoy, to private jet, going to summit and this and that. They will never touch base with ground zero, where the ordinary people are feeling the spikes of what they are doing. They will never actually understand what you are going through, because it is all about them and their profit. They will totally forget the life of a common man. That is the reason why they will continue to put people who are already integrated into that fraternity of politics. So the reason why IPOB, actually Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and all these Biafra agitators, just like Ojukwu, actually call for Biafra independent, because he saw exactly these things that I am saying now. He saw it. He decided that because these were, these people, they understood, they were educated. That's why in Nigeria, mostly they give you people who do forgery of their certificate, forgery of their, qualifications, in order to be in the position of leadership, be it in a government, be it in a political space, be it in a corporate space, anywhere. They can easily forge their, their qualification. Forge their qualification just to attain the position of leadership. When they are supposed to negotiate for you, they don't know nothing. How can a nation tell you that education is the key, but your president even forged their own metric? They forged their own, matric. They cannot even provide their secondary school certificate. But they tell you education is the key. Because they know that the key is education. But you yourself, they will never give you educated leader that will lead you to the lock. That will lead you to the lock to open the success of that education that you must have achieved. They will give you uneducated people in the highest authority. They remember that most of the disadvantage of having an uneducated person, they are ignorant, number one. Very, very super ignorant. They are not educated. They didn't share enough knowledge with others. So that is the reason why they will become ignorant and they believe they are wise. They give those type of people to you as leader. Once they give it to you, they will be remoting them, controlling them. They will tell them, no, we are going to be mining your uranium. Your uranium will be mining them. Don't worry. We will be giving you financial aid, because that person, the only thing they understand, once they cash come in $1 trillion or in millions of dollars. They will say, no, cash, millions of dollars. No, you can take anything you want, it's fine. Without understanding the rippling effect of what they are doing. They are selling the nation. That is the reason why they did not allow Goodluck Jonathan to thrive. And that is exactly the reason why Ojukwu decided, who understood the game, let us leave these people behind, so that they will continue this wife and husband relationship they are doing, or daughter and or son and father relationship they are doing with Britain. He engaged. Even other people from African Union made sure that they never succeed, because these people are the same type of people belonging to a fraternity of ignorance placed them into by their colonial masters that does not want any growth to come into Africa, that does not want it to come to anybody. It is all about, why must it be you that will be free from this thing? Like, why can't all of us be in this predicament together? You don't know if I am free, I find a way to get you free. But because of ignorance of a black man, you will never allow, you will say, no, why must it be this person to be free? Why must he be the first person to be free? Why can't I be the first person? But you will never take a step to be the first person. Then they sabotage Ojukwu. They all turn against him. When Muammar Gaddafi recently tried to bring an initiative that is going to help Africa to thrive and stand tall in a global stage, African countries were there. Some of the leaders in Africa sold him out to NATO. They killed him. AU, African Union, did nothing. But today, the young people decided, no, enough is enough. Let us destroy this 50% of their currency reserve going to the Baku de France. As if you are a child. You cannot keep your economy or your money or your reserve. You are a child. That's what they call you. Now, to some people, this is a beneficial arrangement that ensures that such countries are shielded from devastating impact of price inflation. They tell you this, you believe. You believe them. What are they using? The same fiat money. Many others, however, see it as a neo-colonial tax. Of course, it is a neo-colonial tax. According to the narrative, France, a European behemoth with 2.5 trillion economy, is actively bullying 14. Okay, I have read this place. Benin's President Patrice Talon has become the most prominent West Africa leader to openly express these sentiments, with a statement announcing that all 8 member countries of the West African CFA Union are planning to pull out of it. Did you hear that? Benin's president, they are planning to pull out of that, father and child relationship. Bring all your savings, I will hold it for you. You can continue to manage with this. We will be giving you even funding to help you. When I will be holding your money, using it for my own business, selfish aggrandizement, and I will be giving charity to you. I call the one I give you charity. Hi, Africa, who did this to us? Predictably, the announcement sparked first pumping around the continent, presumably because it heralded the beginning of the end of perceived exploitive neocolonial relationship. That is when they started understanding the game of the neo-colonialist. The game. This is not even a neo-colonialist. You can't call it a neo-colonialist because French is still practicing the old ways. That is not neo-colonialist or neo-colonialism. Try taking your reserve, holding it, controlling it. It is not neo-colonialism. Neo-colonialism is what Britain is doing with Nigeria. That is a neo-colonialism. You can hold whatever you want to hold, but we call the shot. We call the shot. That is neo-colonialism. Without being there, systematically. But this one's taking your money forcefully, going to put it there. That is the old ways. You are still under French colony. Is this situation in reality? Today, France is not Charles de Gaulle's, the France. Okay, they are not Charles de Gaulle's, the France, or Charles de Gaulle's France, whatever. A rather unhelpful effect of the framing around the CFA conversation is that France is often, typecast as the quintessential colonial power hanging on its empire by all means, which fit in neatly with the narrative of the CFA franc being a tool for French neo-colonial subjugation in this 21st century. That is, remove neo-colonial there. There is no new colonial. They are still sticking to their old way. They are still sticking to their old way. That is not, I won't call it neo-colonial. It is still the old way that they are practicing. That is exactly what I may call it. In fact, France is a remarkably different country now to what it was in the mid-20th century. For one thing, the country's ethic and the racial demographics have shifted significantly. Now, there was a piece I was actually reading today where France was actually, if it was possible for them, they wanted to integrate all these countries and call all of them France. Make all of them, if possible, they will have one president, which will be Emmanuel Macron. It was, it is actually the plan that they were actually making, trying to, bring these people under French leadership. For you to see the extent of how they want it, so that they will shift your ground and now tell you that you are all now France. You can go to French, all I'm out, you are now the same people. So that resources, they will be exploring it, exploiting it, because it's all they want. It is not because they love you. And the African Union leaders and the leaders of Africa, they know it. Yes, yet they are continuously eating and dining with these people, unable to tell them the real truth. Now, let's continue. 2008 estimate in New York Times put the number of black people in France at somewhere between 3.5 million people. Between 3 and 5 million people. Today, France also has millions of people with North African origin, chiefly from Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco. Exactly, figures are very difficult to come by because the French Constitution expressly forbid collection of ethnic demographic data, but it is not hard to see how the very meaning of what it is to be French is rather different thing to what it was in 1958. France is also witnessing a wave of right-wing populist politicians who make immigration and racial identity the core of their message. From being fringe figure barely a decade ago, French far-right politicians like Marine Le Pen now sit in country's National Assembly. These politicians generally do not sell an expansionist imperial vision of France to their growing audiences, but instead sell a nativist, inward-looking vision of France that portray African immigration as an existential threat. Did you hear that? Portray African immigration as an existential threat. And depict Francophone Africa as an economic and cultural deadweight that France should cut loose. Aye. Oh, African leaders, who did this to you? Who did this to you? And they all know, they all are aware of what I am reading. All of these leaders are aware of what I am reading. Hi. We are lame. We are weak. Africans, we are weak to allow few people to decide the fate that takes us into hellfire every day. Oh, that is very bad. Le Pen famously used the CFA France as a campaign issue during a visit to Chad while running for president in 2017. If elected, she promised to ensure that the currency is abolished and Francophone Africa countries are given greater sovereignty to tolerate with France on their own terms. To relate with France on their own terms. Wow. Le Pen. Wow. He will never win. Her growing election numbers show that it's becoming politically tricky, even within France, to keep the CFA union running. Keeping Africa under their thumb is clearly no longer something that captures the popular French imagination. Extrapolating election results over the past decade and a half, it is safe to assume that at some point in the next decade, a majority of French voters may actually prefer to get rid of CFA altogether if it means controlling Africa immigration from a position of detachment, as the British do. The local politicians in Africa who have seized on the CFA colonial tax just one moment. Okay, let me just read this one because this one is more interesting than those areas that I am reading. Listen to this. I am a bit slow this evening or this morning or afternoon, wherever you are watching from. I'm a bit slow. So, forget France. Nigeria is the real game in town. That is another exposition that was out there. Forget France. Nigeria is a real game in town. Let us actually try to understand what exactly this Nigeria and their real game is all about. Let's see if it is the same report. Let's see if it has any connection or things to do with what is happening in Nigeria today and their plans. Another feature of CFA disclosure is that it severely overstated the amount of French influence in Francophone West and Central Africa. While former French colonies undoubtedly maintain close business and political link with France for obvious economic and historical reason, it is not the case that their economies are run on a colonial model, with every measure and decision passing through Paris, or at least that is no longer the case. That is no longer the case. A visit to downtown Abidjan may still sometimes feel like an expatriate meeting, but a trip through the countryside and the inner cities reveal one universal fact: Nigerians are everywhere. Hey, universal fact that Nigerians are everywhere. How? Nigerians are everywhere. Why is Nigeria everywhere? Why is Nigerians everywhere? Because Nigeria is a place that is created for the profit of those who created it. It is not created to profit the demographic majority. It is not created to promote the growth, economic growth of ordinary people, or to build infrastructure or give you a good life. Nigeria is created to exploit ordinary people and enrich their creator. That is what Nigeria is created for. That is what the exposition here is also talking about. That is what it is talking about. Nigerians are everywhere. French involvement in this economy is in finance and commodity trading alongside port, telecoms and infrastructures. But they are no longer the only game in town. However, with Nigerian and Chinese investment in retail, construction, entertainment, and manufacturing, among others, driving economic growth in these countries, it is no coincidence that Patrice Talon's pronouncement comes at a time when he is facing severe pressure from the Beninese business lobby as a result of Nigeria land's border closure. As a result of Nigeria land border closure, where a giant with real power over Benin economy is acting recklessly, he has refrained from publicly criticizing Nigeria entirely. The CFA franc then offers itself as the perfect political punching bag. I'm trying to understand this one. It is convenient because it is a silent, almost abstract target that never talks about or imposes sanctions. It is also suitable emotive from a populist point of view. It has its basis in French colonization and bad faith action in 1958. Ergo, it must be a bad thing in 2019. Rather than deal with the Benin real economic problem, near total dependence on trade with Nigeria, Talon calculates that going after the CFA franc and with a grand announcement that says nothing of any real substance will boost his political capital. Judging by the responses to his pronouncement, he calculated correctly. Okay, let's continue. Kikelomo Shodeko, a West African analyst at Salma Frikiri, a corporate security and risk management company, agreed with his assessment. She believed that Talon announcement is little more than political grandstanding with no real intention of taking any dramatic action. Okay, I think there was a time, I believe there was a time where they wanted to have ECOWAS money, right? There was a time where they want to have ECOWAS money. The currency that all the ECOWAS countries will be making use of. There was a time. So I think this place talks about it. This paragraph that I am talking about talks about it, but let me make it a topic for another day. This paragraph, we will talk about it another day. Now, there is something that we have read here. The reason why I read that thing, mostly the part where 50% of the reserve of these French colonies are going to be taken and controlled by the French countries. And not only that they are controlling it, before you will actually try to assess such 50%, do you know the criteria? You must declare your financial year statement. You must declare your financial year statement so that they will correspond it to make sure that what you returned is a 50% of your reserve, which is exactly data that shows that these French colonies are still under French colonization, not even to talk about neo-colonialism. Because African leaders, they have made peace with the neo-colonialism activities, but these people, they never even do away with the, old ways. Talk more of coming to the millennia. It is very, very important for us to know and understand the relationship between French and Nigeria, or French and the Tinubu. Because everything that Tinubu is pursuing with the French, or everything that Tinubu is pursuing, trying to invade Niger Republic, it is all about the benefit of his friend, Macron. It is not about the benefit of anybody. And his own benefit of Tinubu, not the benefit of people of Nigeria. Because what he is doing, he is trying to manipulate. He is trying to activate Section 135 of 1999 Constitution. That is exactly what Tinubu is trying to activate. Because it is going to work in his favor. And that is the reason why Al Jazeera is actually coming. CNN, CNN is actually talking about it, talking about Nigeria. I am going to bring to you now what CNN said, because they are following every activities in Nigeria. Do you know what is going on now? It is called a shadow war. A shadow war that is going out, that is erupting in Africa. And those people who set it, they know we are almost done with you people. We will destroy you, that you will cry for help, so that you will go into another hand that will deal with you again, because your resources is never finished. They know that they are almost done with you people. That is the reason why they are doing away with anything that produces carbon. Carbon emission engines. They will throw them away. They will do away with them in order, because they have extracted your oil, use them for many ways, and use it to build and build and build and build, make even the climate sick according to them. And now the reparation of climate, it is what they are calling in your own expense, that they have to do away with fossil fuel. They have to do away with anything that produce carbon. They have to do away with it. But they are the ones who are operating things that produce the highest carbon, even as we are speaking, as they are telling you that the climate is sick, they are producing the most of them. What have you ever manufactured? You don't even have industries in Africa. So how are you going to make the climate sick? That is exactly the reason why they will now create a shadow war. This shadow war that is coming, it is all about using your own people to fight people who are fighting for their freedom, to plunge every avenue that people will use to recognize themselves and fight for their freedom. That will show you what is going on between AU and ECOWAS. It is an evidence that African leaders killed Gaddafi. African leaders killed Maman Gaddafi. It is an evidence. Because I am not saying they actually pulled the trigger or threw the bomb. Because they have to give that, if they block it, if they actually blocked it and say to NATO, you are not doing this one, they weren't going to do it. Maybe they will come to a round table, since they claim there is a United Nations and ICC. They will make sure, even if they did it, they will be actually calling for intervention of that ICC. They could do it, but they never tried. Rather, they were made the instrument to gain the pass. Just like they are trying to be the instrument to block every people or every nation, that the people that are suffering on the ground decided they want to take their destiny back to their hands and actually control what happens to them. And that is exactly what democracy stands for. The people of Niger Republic are actually, taking advantage of their democratic, right by taking their power to themselves and confiscating, or will I say, confiscating the person they have given this power that misused it, and use it to promote nations that exploit them. Even instead of promoting the nation that gave him the power. Now, for you to understand that the people who say they promote democracy, which is the West, they don't even tell you, I can't say they don't understand what democracy is all about, because they know fully well what democracy is all about. They know 100% well what democracy is all about. But when it comes to Africa, they will behave, or they will place you under that impression that they do not know what democracy is. When it comes to Africa, it becomes an evidence that these people cannot even define the word democracy, where power and sovereignty belongs to the people. That is exactly what is going on. Now, let me show you, there is a video I want to play to you before we come to the game that Tinubu is playing with Nigeria. The game and how he is planning to activate, how he is trying to activate Section 135, 1999 Constitution. Just one moment. Let me show you this video. This video talks about who is standing Let me show you exactly why the whole world is talking about Niger Republic today. The whole world is talking about Niger Republic. Other than other places. Remember other places, people talked about it, but not in this way. Because the resources that you see that is coming out of Niger today, those resources are very important resources. It is the resources they will use to dump Africa. That resources you see coming out from Niger, it is the resources that you use to dump Africa and tell Africa, don't you ever use fossil fuel. Don't you ever use carbon emission engines, or they will stop manufacturing it. They don't even need to tell you. They just stop manufacturing it. What can you do? You can't do anything because you have nothing to offer. That's the way it is.
Hello and welcome to this DW Business Special, looking at the economic implications of the coup in Niger, not just for Niger itself.
Did you see that economic implication of the coup in Niger? Because everyone is talking about the coup in Niger. Now let us listen to hear the economic implication of the coup in Niger, so that we will know what exactly Niger is and why it is now the center of attention. I don't know if we are still coming out clearly on Facebook. I don't know. Let me see. Showing low FPS. It is showing low FPS, but I believe we are still coming out before I play this video. When it comes to Africa, okay, we are. Now listen to this. Listen to this. There is something I want you to learn from here.
But for the rest of the world. I'm Rob Watts, and I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Alex Vines, who leads the Africa program at the Policy Institute, Chatham House. Thank you so much for being here.
Africa program at the Policy Institute, Chatham House. Listen very attentively.
With us. Is there a real danger here that one of the world's poorest countries is
poorest country?
Poorer?
There is a real danger. I mean, over 40% of Nigerians already, before this coup, lived in absolute poverty. And the academic work on coups in West Africa, the UNDP has just completed a really excellent study. And
he said that they are living in poverty under whose regime? Under their promoting their democratic regime, under the man that they placed there. They are living in poverty. Does it mean they do not have resources that will elevate them from poverty? They have everything it takes to elevate them from poverty. Niger, they have what it takes that will elevate them from poverty. We are going to tell you what exactly these people are doing to Africa.
It shows that economies contract. It looked at previous coups in Mali and Guinea and shows a significant economic contraction. And so I'm very worried for Niger. It's not good news for its economy and for economic growth.
Wow, they're very worried.
What I want to do is put it all in context of the growing number of coups that there have been in the region just in the past 3 years or so. But before we get deeper into all of that, let's just take a look at the situation in Niger right now. So since military leaders seized control of the Western African country in late July, Niger's streets have seen protests against France's influence there. Meanwhile, neighboring countries and Western nations have called for the immediate restoration of the elected government.
Immediate restoration of the elected government. When the people does not want the so-called elected government, if the people elected such government, why would the people not remove him? Then they say that power belongs to the people. So why are people more worried about bringing back the government that has impoverished the nation because he is controlled by France? Why is the whole world looking for what these people are not looking for? What the people that are actually wearing the shoe are not looking for? The whole world is looking for it for them. Why? Can anybody give us that answer from the West or from African Union? Why is all of you looking for what you claim that is best for the people who are feeling the spikes of these challenges they are facing on the ground zero in Niger Republic? You people are trying to impose to them what they do not want in the name that you want the democratic, leadership to be reinstated, when this democratic leadership has never done anything that actually promote their own life or means of livelihood, that elevates them from poverty. They have never done so. So why on earth is somebody telling you now that the whole world is calling for what the whole Niger Republic, ordinary people on the ground, whom power belongs to, does not want? Does that make sense? It does not make sense to me. Let's listen to the reason why the whole world is looking for, because this world is a world of exploitation.
Further development as well. There have been electricity blackouts in major cities in Niger after Nigeria cut off energy supplies.
Nigeria cut off energy supply. Who is it going to affect? Those ordinary people that they claim they are protecting. Ordinary people they claim they are protecting. They cut off the light for Niger Republic. Nigeria don't even have electricity, but they are giving Niger electricity. But there is no steady electricity in Nigeria. They have cut the light off. They cut the funding. The West cut the funding. Just to spite the ordinary people. Have you seen what's going on there? This is very bad. This is very bad. Giving them sanctions. They are now under sanctions. Okay?
Now, Niger is ranked as one of the very poorest countries in the world. Its economy is largely based around agriculture, subsistence farming, etc. It's a big recipient of international aid, some $2 billion per year. And another key aspect of its economy, of course, is that particularly
big recipient of this international aid. Why are they giving Niger aid? Is it because they love the people not to suffer, or they are trying to elevate people from poverty? Now let's bring logic into it. If they are really fighting to elevate people from poverty, that is the reason why they are giving financial aid to Niger. Ask yourself a simple question. Will they actually stop the funding when Niger Republic, the people there, majority of the people, they are actually loving what the new development that is taking place? They love it. So democracy is not to protect the people. It is to protect the particular person they place in the position of power. It means that Africa must do away with their own, that type of democracy. If democracy cannot be defined properly in Africa, it is very, very good if Africa do away with it. Unless democracy is defined, well defined to the Africans, in the African context, that it will benefit Africa. Anything that cannot benefit you, you don't promote it. Because what they're telling us now is that democracy does not care about ordinary people. Democracy only care about one man. Which means that one man is more important than the rest of the millions of people of a particular nation in Africa. But when it comes to America, democracy care for the people first. They put America first, Americans first. When it comes to Africa, they put president first. And the people, the people of America, people of the West, promote it. No wonder when you talk about the, toppling on human rights, and no wonder that we've been calling on United Nations to intervene, and we, calling on Britain to intervene in the case of Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. They actually turn a blind eye, block their ears, acting like they're not hearing what you are saying. Because these things now are the reality of our lives, that we can either amend or we can either actually find a way to deal with it and solve it permanently, or we die in poverty. Our children will continue to recycle the same poverty that you died for or you died in. They will continue to recycle it. That is the worst case, the worst thing that is going to happen to you. Leaving this problem, the challenges that you could change and turn around for your children, because you are looking up to these few individuals, which their children are all over the place in the Western world, living a 5-star life. The life that all Nigeria is supposed to be living, one child is going to be living it. The life that all the Nigerians are supposed to be living, Niger, people from Niger are supposed to be living, one family is living it in the name of a president that the West is actually protecting and placing them first before the people who gave them the power. It's an irony. If they cannot define what democracy is, Africa can equally or may equally do away with it, because it is invalid to African, context or to African challenges. It is not a solution then if they cannot define it well, the same way the English dictionary defined it. If they cannot define it, process it, and understand that cutting funding that you claim you are giving to elevate poverty, it is actually toppling on the democracy, because these people are not being oppressed by those who plot the coup. They only held the president captive, one man, and the whole nation supports it, because they know that the new thing is coming to their way. So power belongs to the people. I still see democracy there. If the people never supported it, then it means that it is not democracy. Power belongs to the people. When they correct the mistakes, maybe the military will take over. When they correct the mistake, they go back to the real democracy, the type of democracy that is being practiced in America and Europe. But you don't know their mind. So why don't you allow them? Are they not a sovereign nation? Or when it comes to issue of ordinary people trying to defend their right, when ordinary people try to defend their right, when you know that they will not be able to remove the president, it is all about defending their right, and the president will just release police and army to kill them. You will say, no, this is a sovereign nation. We cannot interfere. We don't have that capacity to interfere with sovereign nation. That is their foreign policy. But when it concerns a leader, one person, over 200 million persons, or people rather. So it is improper fraction you people are playing here. Improper fraction. One man's life is more important than the life of maybe 200 million people. One man's life in Niger is more important than the life of maybe, I don't know how many number Niger have, but I believe they have more than 10 million people. One man's life is more important than the lives of those people. Now let us listen to see how much uranium they produce in a year. Listen.
Uranium, the 7th biggest supplier, in fact. So Alex finds from Chatham House, Niger is a big recipient of international aid, as I just said, and countries like the US have indicated that that could dry up unless democracy is restored.
What is democracy? What is democracy?
No, as you've said, it's really dependent on international development. It's not just the United States that will hold a lot of it. Suspend it. It's also the EU, it's other Western partners, and there's a raft of sanctions now been imposed on Niger by the Regional Economic Community body, the ECOWAS, and so
ECOWAS
is really being turned on the junta leaders in Niamey at the moment. Let alone, as you said, you've already mentioned, there's been a cut of energy supply from Nigeria to Niger.
Yeah, the U.S. Secretary of State did say that money from hundreds of millions of dollars from the U.S. is at jeopardy because of what's going on. So how does the junta stay in power if the country requires that money so much?
Yeah, so the junta
manipulation
said that all existing relationships would be respected, and that was what it announced over a week ago when it staged the coup. But, for example, today it said that it's scrapping its defence agreement with France, and it's kind of suggesting that it will chart a different course. To be honest, the junta really doesn't have a lot of choices here. It is really under pressure, and I think we've seen this in that the junta leader, General Sisani, last night was saying that actually the junta is only in power for a very short period of time, pending a transition process to democratic elections. So,
did you hear that? He's only in power for a short period of time. Then why don't you allow them to be in power for a short period of time and transition into the democratic process? Why can't they allow them to be in power for this short period of time? What will happen if they allow them? Because they don't want them to break the barrier of poverty. They don't want them to break the barrier of poverty. I am going to leave it here. There is a lot he said. There is a lot he said. But because of time, let me just leave it here. Very, very important from CNN. I believe, let me read the article coming from CNN. Or did I save the CNNs? Now let's read from CNN. Africa's latest coup is a headache for the West and an opportunity for Russia. Did you hear what CNN said? It is a headache for the West, an opportunity for the Russians. It is a lot of things. There are many things going on here. Now, let's find out how it becomes opportunity for Russia and bad business for the West. And that is exactly what it is. Listen. Day after the democratically elected president of Niger was deposed in a military coup, thousands of supporters of the takeover trudged the French embassy in the nation's capital to deliver an unmistakable message to their former colonial power and its Western allies. As President Mohamed Bazoum was being held captive by the soldiers at the presidential palace in Niamey, tense scenes played out down the road where pro-coup Nigerians one moment. Where pro-coup Nigerians, some waving Russia flags, chanted "Long live Putin" and "Down with France" as a plague at the embassy torn down. Embassy was torn down. So, if we see the amount of people that actually took part in such protest that went down in France, if we see the amount of people who took part in the protest that went down in France, in the Niger Republic, is that not an evidence to show? This is CNN reporting this. CNN, is that not an evidence to show that exactly this is what people want? It is not imposed or forced on the people. And what people want is democracy. The majority, or the people, what people want is democracy. Why is Africa not fighting this neo-colonialism? Why is Africa not fighting this neo-colonialism? This is a question that every African countries will be asking their leaders. Why are we not fighting neo-colonialism? If African Union is indeed fighting what the Nigerians want, or Nigerians want, you ask them, what is democracy? Because they will hide under the guise of democracy in order to stop what is going to help you. Now they have called it benefit of Russia and bad business for the West. The images reverberated through the halls of power at the LC Palace in Paris, thousands of miles away. French President Emmanuel Macron threatened retaliation against any attack on French nationals and condemned the coup as completely illegitimate and profoundly dangerous for the Nigerians. Niger and the whole region. The United States and other Western nations also condemned the coup, and the bloc of Western African countries threatened to intervene militarily if Bazoum was not reinstated. Have you now seen where it is called a shadow war? This is exactly where it is called a shadow war. When they are now telling you that the West African countries, imagine, the West is telling you now the West African countries are trying to intervene. They are now the ones who are actually, pushing them to intervene, creating a shadow war that is leaving your fingerprint, trying to leave Nigerians' fingerprint in the scene of their crime. That is what they want to use Nigeria and the ECOWAS to do. Trying to leave your fingerprint in the scene of their crime. Shadow war. And by the time this war goes down, the reparation will be very difficult. But let it continue. Let it go on. I believe that these people... let it continue. Just like I have said it before. I will not say it again. Let's continue. Calling for them to reinstate. Is it your business, if I may say? Is it ECOWAS business? Because these people are looking for what is best for them. Why are you looking for what is evil for them or what is worse for them? Why are you not fighting for your freedom? The same thing I said the other time. All these leaders, when you see them, they speak so eloquently. They will start speaking, telling you that they want African freedom, but they cannot even act it. How else are you going to want independence of Africa if you cannot work towards it or support a person who summoned courage to do it? If you don't like the way they did it, then you support them. Tell them, let's go back to democratic process. Find a way to, do what you have to do. We will support you every step of the way. But find a way to bring peace to the people. That is what a good father is supposed to tell to the children. Not to take war, to go and challenge them because you believe you can. All of you will be surprised this time around, especially that Nigeria president, that illegitimate president of Nigeria. You will be very surprised. Because your plan now, his plan is to activate Section 135. Before we go back to what we are telling the CNN, he's trying to activate Section 135 of 1999 Constitution, which is Article 3, say, if the Federation is at war, in which the territory of Nigeria is physically involved, and the President considers that it is not, it is not practicable to hold elections, the National Assembly may by resolution extend the period of 4 years mentioned in the subsection 2 of this section from the time to time, but no such extension shall exceed a period of 6 months at any one time. This might be also what the Nigeria president is trying to do in order to truncate the decision of the court, because it is all about trying all their possible best to find an easy way to truncate the decision of the court. That's exactly what they are trying to do. But because now, for CNN to be promoting it, they must have told him, this is your only chance. This is the chance that will enable you to sit in that position of power. This is the chance for you to come out, and shine in Africa. This is the time for you to come out and become the giant of Africa indeed. Just like the other man who is actually telling us that South Africa is part of the coup. One, is it expired professor, telling you that before you become a world power or before you become relevant, you must do something like this, invade a nation. Now they are planning and pushing ECOWAS to invade a nation, a sovereign nation, who their affairs is supposed to lie within them and their own people. They are pushing ECOWAS to invade it. Promising this Tinubu, the promise you give somebody on top of the bed. That is the promise they are giving him. They are now motivating him. Macron must have called him on the phone 100 times a day. Macron and Tinubu, now, best of friends. They want to use the opportunity to unify their friendship. Because it is do me a favor. That's why Tinubu is pushing the house to grant him the support so that he will go to war. Boko Haram is still waiting. And this is exactly what Mazen Nnamdi Kanu used to tell those militaries that normally comes to Biafra land. While you are in Biafra land trying to kill our people, that Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen will be ravaging and destroying your villages, you will not have anywhere to go back to. That is exactly what is going on. Remember that Islamization of Nigeria is still in play. When the military is gone there, Boko Haram, it creates vacuum for all these terrorist organizations. Boko Haram, ISWAP, Fulani terrorists, and Jihad. What do you call them? Islamic, ISWAP is Islamic, whatever it is. But it is actually connected to Islamic religion or fraternity. So, last year you knew that all of them were uniting. And they are seeing what is going on. So, Tinubu, please go to war with Niger. But I know that the God of the motherland is going to stand for anybody who is fighting for their right in this time around. The reason why we were not able to win the war in 1967 against Nigeria, let me tell you, it was not the right time. We were actually still paying for our sins, which is that sin of God promises to us. Third and fourth generation. And had it been we won Nigeria at that time, we will be under the shackle of French colony today. That is one thing that we need to understand as well. Because French was coming and they started teaching you French in Biafra land as at that time. That is the reason why also when we are talking about getting our freedom, and somebody will come from nowhere, they tell you they will get you freedom today, they will get you freedom tomorrow. Ask them what type of freedom is it that they are going to get for you? What type of freedom is it they are going to get for you? Let me tell you something that you need to understand. Let me tell you something that you need to understand. You need to understand that any language instructions that is being promoted in schools, any language instruction that comes into your curriculum in school, it is always followed by the economic, it is always followed by economic oppressor or economic imperative. Whenever they start teaching a particular language or they actually bring a particular language into your curriculum, that language, whichever nation that owns that language, they are your next economic oppressors, your next neo-colonialist. That is the reason why we started seeing French teaching in our curriculum. Had we actually won that war that time, which is not the right time, it was not the right time, it was going to be a bad market for us. It was going to be a seriously bad market for us because French was actually trying to grab Biafra land. They were trying to actually come in. That's why they were smuggling some stuff to you. It was going to be a mess. But now, we know what we did not know that time. And now, these things that are happening today everywhere, it is actually an evidence to show you we are at the right track. We are fighting we are fighting it at the right time. Because we know what we did not know 1967. That is the reason why whenever the infiltrator rear up their ugly head to come and deceive our people, we fight them back and send them back to the bottomless pit. Because you do not know who the Western agenda that they are using in order to find a way to say, okay, one day they will say you will get Biafra, they will bring you back to the same thing happening to Niger, South Sudan. You will think, let me tell you, let me be honest with you, you can never finance a revolution. if you are actually saying that this revolution is financed by these people, that means that it is not a revolution. Nobody will come and tell you, no, he's an individual trying to finance a revolution. It is no longer going to be called a revolution. It is going to be called a coup. That is the reason why a revolution is going to be self-financed. Self-financed. That's why you see IPOB. IPOB is self-financed. It is not financed by any politicians or anybody from the Western countries. That is why whenever any group come up, knowing what you are knowing now, understanding the power of neo-colonialism and understanding this element that they come with and understanding their trajectories, you will know that any group or anybody who tell you they are fighting for your freedom, ask them who is their alliance and what is the agreement with this alliance that they are forming on your behalf. It is very, very important that you must ask them who is their alliance, because the alliance is exactly somebody promoting their interest, somebody pushing their own agenda in the name to support you, so that when you achieve this, they supported you, they granted you this, therefore they have autonomy over you. It is always like that. That is the reason why Nigeria can never be independent, because they are actually overly indebted to Britain, who helped them to win the war. They can never finish pay the debt. That's why the oil theft in Nigeria will be a permanent stuff. It will never finish. It is not basically oil theft. It is people taking the oil, coming in and taking it and going. Because a criminal runs in the middle of the night. They are the ones who place whoever that will govern. That's why each and every place where there is problem, it becomes all about, protecting the man they put in that position of power, not to protect the people on the ground. So we were lucky. We were supposed to be under this French, what do you call them? Oligarch. So that's the way it is. I know there are some set of ignorant people whom they have sold their conscience for 1 million naira. They have sold their conscience for few naira notes. 1 million naira is it up to $2,000. As it stands now, 1 million naira is not up to $2,000. You sell your conscience, sell your right, sell your humanity to these politicians. Because of that, you don't understand the danger that is behind one Nigeria. You don't understand that the role your oppressors are playing, using you because you like to sell your conscience for 1 million naira, less than $3,000, and impoverish yourself for 8 years. Having seen some of you like that in the comment section, it means you will not understand the topic we are actually talking about. Because what is happening in Niger, it is going to happen in Nigeria. How it is going to happen, I don't know. But it is going to happen. Maybe very soon, even sooner than you will expect. You know why? Because people are fed up. And what is happening in Niger is going to actually open the eyes of the people more. To be more fed up. It is not our trajectory. But having seen a nation where a corruption is prevalent And actually, nobody is held to account. And everybody is crying. They believe that it is all about trying to see the leaders of those who are crying. They give them money, they go and calm the other ones down. They believe it will always be a business as usual until it takes them by surprise. Imagine ordinary Niger Republic is fighting for their independence. Ordinary Niger, small Niger, that you people gave electricity. They rose up to fight for their independence, but 200 million bunch of cowards. Is it what you have in Nigeria? It looks like you have 200 million bunch of cowards in Nigeria. Few people dictate for them. And some of them, as idiotic that they may be, they will be supporting the agenda of Tinubu to go and exhaust the resources you do not have that you couldn't fight Boko Haram. To go and fight for the West, the Emmanuel Macron. They are going to fight for him so that he will take over back his country in Africa. Because that's exactly what they are trying to do. Is there anything else they want to do? There is nothing. It's not on the benefit of any African country. Where is the ECOWAS money that they claim they wanted to produce? Was it not Emmanuel Macron and his cohort that is actually stopping that money from coming? Why is nobody talking about it? Anything that will be beneficial to Africa, it is never going to actually come to life. Because the leaders are the stooges of the enemy. And the leaders are the representatives of the enemy. That is the reason why those who are actually taking that step, bold step, to find a way to remove the leader by fire, by force, it is actually a bold step. But the most important thing they need to understand, a revolution cannot be sponsored. A revolution cannot be sponsored. If you want to actually totally emancipate yourself from this mess and integrate yourself to total freedom, revolution cannot be funded or sponsored. You must know the trajectory of the sponsor and what is exactly the arrangement. Regardless of who the sponsor is, be it China, be it Russia, you must know exactly what are you trying to achieve by helping me. That's the question, the first question you need to ask. What are you trying to achieve by helping me? Because you are not a good Samaritan. Let us actually find out and see if it is going to work before you come out from frying pan and fly into the fire direct. These are the reasons why it is very crucial if some criminals spring up in the name of faction, because it's all about faction. They will use to destroy you. In the name of faction, urgent provocateurs, they will spring up and come and tell you they are fighting for your freedom. Number two, they create government in exile, which the nation is not declared, but there is already government. If you have no land, but you are looking for mat to sleep, is it not you have to fight for land, piece of land, where you are going to lay your mat before you go and look for mat to sleep on it? So when you understand their trajectories and you go back to their antecedents, you will know that these people are nothing but criminals that is being driven by the agenda of these oppressors, and they will never leave until you regain your consciousness. Because some of those who are supporting these infiltrators, they are actually unconscious. They are unconscious because that is what they will always use against you and I. Now I think we're going to leave it here. We've been here for 2 hours already. More than 2 hours, actually. I think we are going to leave it here. We had a lot. Even how they we've seen how there is a lot of exposition done on Macron. what he has done to Africa. There is a lot of them, a whole lot of them that is out there in the public domain. But we will continue to bring them, one after another. We will continue to bring them because while we are exposing it, we are educating and making ourselves aware of how they operate. They know and they understand who is their common enemy. Uranium exploration or will I call it exploration or exploitation that is being done against this nation they call the poorest country in Africa, which is Niger. How can the poorest country in Africa is the 7th uranium, they are the 7th uranium producing countries, or where they explore or exploit the uranium that the whole big world in the West is using, maybe including China. How can they be poor? Uranium help you to go to a greener energy. Uranium is used to build nuclear energy. Uranium is used to build many things. So why is it that these people that has that uranium, they are not rich but poorest that need a financial aid? They need financial aid. Any country that is being given a financial aid, believe you me, the person there is is a Western stooge. Is a stooge to those countries that is giving them financial aid, and the countries are benefiting more than what you as ordinary citizen is benefiting. You haven't benefited anything anyway. So let them continue to plan. Let Nigeria continue to plan while we continue to make our own plan. The most important call that we are making is for them to release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu while they continue their political madness and the games that they are playing with their Western counterpart. They don't care about us. They don't really care about us. That's exactly what it is. It is up to you to care about yourself. It is up to us to care about us. Since they don't care about us, they have police and army. They have the resources. They have the West. You have you and the population that is going to make a difference and say enough is enough. It is democracy. Power belongs to the people. It is democracy. The sovereignty of a nation lies in the hands of those populations, not the minority that you call your omnipotent, or you make your omnipotent, because you don't call them to account. That's why they become omnipotent, and the West help you to make them that untouchable until you realize and become self-aware of all these things. That is the reason why we will continue to bring our time, continue to teach this until we'll understand where next they are going. We will continue to teach it. Very, very important. I know that I am a bit slow, today. I'm a bit slow today because I don't think I slept well. I'm a bit tired, so we will continue. I believe, I don't know if we are coming back tomorrow or maybe we'll continue on Sunday. And I believe that the DOS is coming online also on Sunday, or on the 6th of this month. They are coming online. So we'll try to follow it up. Even if they are coming online, we will come before the time they will come. If it is on Sunday that we are going to come online, maybe tomorrow, we never know, if time permits me, after Sabbath, because we are going back to our heritage. I am a Jew, the son of Jacob, the son of Gad. Gad is the son of Jacob. So we are going back to our heritage. We continue to keep the ancestors, beliefs. We bring them back to life. Because we are this. We are our ancestors. And our ancestors was we. So we must recognize them and we must respect the heritage. We are going back to it. And going back to it means that we are going to let go of every way possible that the West is using to manipulate us. That is exactly what it is. It is in your hands. You can make a change. You can make a difference. Until we meet again, stay safe.